Hi, and welcome to Dog Talk TV with your host, Tony V. Thank you for tuning in. Our mission here at Dog Talk TV is to keep the dogs in your heart and not in the pound or the shelter. And we do that by focusing on you, the dog owner or the handler, and not the dog. So we use a lot of our leadership principles that we use in the business world to help you become a better dog owner. So I hope you've watched our previous episodes because each episode builds upon the previous one. In our last couple of episodes, we talked about who is responsible for the dog, and the answer is you. So we also talked about expect the unexpected. So if you have a dog that has behavioral issues or the dog doesn't do something you want to do, rather than give that dog up, let's fix the situation. And we're going to do that by trying to get you onto a training program. Now, as we stated earlier in another episode, training is only part of the relationship between you and your dog. The main part of that relationship is communication. How do you and your dog communicate? Because believe it or not, dogs can't talk. I know that's new to you, but dogs cannot talk. So words are not really big in their world. They may react to words that you have, but they really don't understand them. They may associate words with certain actions or tasks, but they really don't understand it. They do understand physical communication, and we'll get that much later. But right now, let's just talk about getting you to a point where you have a healthy relationship with you and your dog. Because as we all know, over time, dogs have become more and more an important part of our human lives. You know, 50 years ago, dogs were kept on chains in the backyard. Now today, they live in your home. They go on car rides with you. We take them everywhere. They sit in your lap while you watch television. They are part of our human world. So that changes the environment a little bit. So we must adapt to that. And so if you're having issues with your dog, we're going to help you fix that relationship so to keep the dog in your heart and your home versus having to take it to a shelter or the pound. And so the first thing we're going to do today, we're going to talk about something from a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And in his book, step number 2 is called Start with the End in Mind. So as you start building this training program, we want you to think about what is your end result? What do you want to get out of the relationship with you and your dog? And how much do you want to have your dog fixed or not fixed? Because if you want your dog really fixed, so to speak, then it's going to take a lot of work on your part. So we want you to know that before you get started, that you have some responsibility to help change your dog's relationship with you and the world. So there's a couple of disciplines that your dog must learn. There's controls that we must put in place. We must fix the dog's memory. Your dog doesn't think in terms of past or future. They think about what is going on in the current. So when we work with our dogs, we have certain disciplines, and there's controls around them. And example controls are some physical controls, like with a leash, or maybe some verbal commands and things like that. But we teach our dog disciplines. Now, I know at our house, our dog, Miko, he's a rescue dog, and he had some behavioral issues. But when we work with our dog, we work with him every day, all day. So before he gets something to eat, he must sit. If we're eating, he cannot hang around the table and beg for food. He must go sit on his bed, and we have a command for that. If we are downstairs and we want to go up the stairs, he has to sit and wait until we clear the top step, and then he's allowed to come up. And why do we do that? Because it reinforces his memory structure on what he's supposed to do and what he's not supposed to do. And again, is that really important? Probably not, but it's important to the dog. So we have disciplines in place. We know that when we walk, he must stay by our side. He cannot walk in front of us or behind us. He must stay at our side. and we do that with some leash commands. So it's important to have those controls in place, because what happens when there's no controls in place? So what if the dog gets out? So when we first got Nico, I know I had him on a standard collar and took him to an event, and he got loose and he ran for miles and miles and miles, and it took me hours to get him back. But today, after we've gone through restructuring his memory and communicating with him properly, if he gets loose now, he thinks he still has controls in place, so he stays right there most of the time. Trust me, he's a dog, and he will do what comes naturally to him, like most dogs will. So if a rabbit runs by or a squirrel runs by, all bets are off, and by golly, he's going to chase them. We know that. So we must prepare for that. So again, the main thought behind this episode is that we want you to start with the end in mind as you start thinking about how to develop a training program for you and your dog. And your training program should be mostly focused on communication. Training is only a small portion of that overall program. And again, in upcoming episodes, we're going to bring in some subject matter experts to talk to you about how to do that. And I will be introducing to you a program online here in the next month or two about where to go to get some help. Our dog, if you haven't watched our video, go out to YouTube and search for this video here, and it will tell you the story of our dog. He was a rescue dog. When we got him, he was phenomenal, but then he developed some issues with aggression and separation anxiety, and it got kind of bad there for a while. But we came across a training expert that deals specifically in behavioral issues, and we have an incredible life with our dog now, Nico. Can't imagine life without him. So we want you to share in those same experiences with your dog, and we're going to introduce you down that path of how to have that relationship. So stay tuned for future episodes. And so for now, this is Tony V, your host, saying have a doggone good day.